there's a lot of people in the music industry that are like, I just want to be a creative. I don't want to deal with any of the business. So they're looking to get signed by somebody. And for some people, that's good because that is their type of personality. But for most people, it's going to be way more beneficial in the long run, especially mental health wise and lifestyle wise, if they become independent individuals. What's up, y'all? Harkos here with Music Making Sense podcast, and with me, as always, is the dapper Dan Mohawk man with the plan, KP. How the hell you doing today, KP?
Feeling pretty damn froggy, man. How are you, boss?
Froggy. Oh, is it starting to get into extra rainy season up there in Washington State?
Yeah. That's why I'm
Man,
getting that froggy like ribbit because trying to jump over fucking
puddles.
puddles and everything.
Yeah, that's one thing I always say is that, like, Washington State, especially Seattle, weather is so horrible. No wonder grunge came from it and everybody was on heroin. They just trying to escape some way, somehow.
They were,
You know,
man.
I
I
mean,
mean,
but
I
like,
feel it now, dude, and it's crazy.
yeah,
Like being here 23 years, and it's funny what we were just talking about earlier. This is
mm,
what we brought up. You know, 23 years, man. Like it's been like this emotional roller coaster from me, man. And I realize how much it has made an effect on me musically.
what with
And
the
like
weather
you
and
even
stuff.
yeah, dude. It's
I could see
crazy.
that.
Like, and so now, like, and now that I'm looking at now that I'm, looking at moving forward to California,
Mm.
and it's just like, wow, man, I totally understand the feeling that I had all these years. And it's like and you could see where it affects you. So
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, because there's seasonal affective disorder, which people who live in like the northern hemisphere kind of deal with the changing of the season,
mhm,
especially if you live in a place you have all four seasons, like here in Indiana, in the
yeah,
Midwest, we get
Great
all four
Lakes. Yeah.
100%. Whereas, where you're at in Seattle, Washington, your wintertime, it gets cold, but it's still rainy. It's not really like here in the Midwest where we get cold and snow and all that shit,
Right.
and but I mean, you still deal with the daylight issue, the lack of daylight, because you're
Mhm.
actually a little bit higher up than me, so you have a little less daylight. um so yeah, that affects you. But yeah, I mean, everybody knows when it's one of those just rainy, cloudy, dreary days, it affects you mentally. And if you have to
Mhm.
deal with, what is it, like 260 out of 365 days of the year it rains up in Seattle or whatever the fuck,
Yep.
like that's a lot of dreary days. That's most of, yes, that's 3/4 of your fucking life
Yep.
is dreary day. And so that's going to affect you absolutely,
Mhm.
and I think, transitioning that onto to California, I think that is what so many people like about California. Like, through all the negative shit, no matter how you look at it, no matter what your political persuasion or lifestyle persuasion is on California, the weather is the biggest thing I hear from people all the time. It's like,
Yep.
why do you want to go there, or why do you live there, blah, what do you miss about it, blah blah blah, anything like that. I'm like, oh, the weather is always blah blah blah. It's always like Pac said, it's always sunny, and it's always sunny and it never rains, or whatever he said.
It
It
never rains in Southern California.
Yeah, there's that too.
Oh,
Yeah, a lot
Tony,
of people
Tony,
talk.
Tony.
A lot of people talk about the weather out there, and the weather's the
Yes,
biggest thing. But I can see how that helps your mentality.
it does. Because you're
Yeah.
able to live, because it's like the thing is like, yeah, the cost of living and all that stuff. But man, it's like when you're in California, and it was funny. I was just on Reddit yesterday going through conversational pieces on Reddit. And I'm involved in one of these called the Los Angeles Reddit's scenes. So in a conversation there, it was like a person brought up about how they're so happy, they regret moving from LA. And I'm sitting there, and as I read it, and I'm just sitting, and I was just like, dude, I totally get it, because it's like the cost of living and all that stuff. Yeah, okay, but it's it's you know how to live. You live when you live in California. You actually live life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're out there, even like the homeless people. I don't blame them for fucking being happy. Like, it's just
because the weather's good.
yeah,
Yeah,
because the weather's
there's no
good.
homeless people in Detroit in fucking January.
Yeah, like it sucks. Yeah, you ain't
Yeah.
trying to be out there like that. But
No.
you know, in LA, it's like you can just. It's like you can.
The weather makes it to where you can kind of be.
Yeah. It does. It really does. And I felt that, man. And when I came back, I was just like, man, here I am. And I felt bad because that's when it made me walk away from Men's Warehouse. And I'm just like, yeah, I definitely need to be out that way. So yeah, so that's where,
you know, I definitely hope it works out for you. I mean, we're not into the podcast between me and you because of it, but I'm just saying, like, hopefully that move, it works out good for you, you know, because, you know, a lot of times people fall into that grass is greener on the other side type shit. And I don't think that you're into that.
No,
I think you see all the opportunity that's there, you know, that's not where you're at right now. You know, maybe you feel stuck, all that stuff. You need to switch it up and everything like that. You know, I always tell people, you know, not you, particularly, you know, for this situation, because I think it would be a good move for you personally, at least right now. But I always tell people, you know, the grass isn't greener on the other side; it's green where you water it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I've even heard one that kind of adds on to that. You know, that, you know, the grass is green where you water it, and shit makes the grass grow. So dealing with the shit is actually a positive. You know, and so you know, that's kind of where I stand on things. But like me personally, you know, so I'm like a little different. Like, I like it here where I'm at in Midwestern Indiana. All right, y'all. I just want to take a quick break right here to tell you about something hot and spicy. And no, I'm not talking about that Latina thing that you saw on Tinder the other day. I'm talking about hot sauce. And not just any hot sauce, but Tennessee Hot Sauce Co. All right. I personally know the owner of Tennessee Hot Sauce Company, and I've seen him grow this company from just something that he would sell a few bottles at the local farmer's market to something that can ship all across the United States now, all right? And you guys have a unique opportunity right now to save 20% by using the code MMCPOD when you check out on any order over at Tennessee Hot Sauce Company's website. All right, that's tnhotsauceco.com. Make sure y'all go check them out and use the code MMCPOD over at checkout and save 20%. You guys got to check this out. All right, they have all kinds of great flavors. My personal favorite is Poblano Jalapeno. It has a mild kick to it because I'm a little bit of a bitch when it comes to spices, but it has great flavor. I put it on all kinds of stuff. I put it on steaks. I put it on burgers when I'm cooking them. I put it on tacos and enchiladas, stuff like that as well too. But I've tried many of these other flavors like the garlic habanero and the honey habanero, the blood orange ghost, and the pineapple habanero. Now, the pineapple habanero was one that really snuck up on me because it had a great sweet flavor of the pineapple, and it wasn't nothing overbearing, but it had a very good flavor to it. And then all of a sudden, boom, I got hit in the ass with the habanero, and I had to go grab some milk, all right? But these are some great flavors, and they have all kinds of different options. They have the collection, which has the full lineup of all 6 of their most popular sauces. They also have different subscription boxes. You have a 3-sauce option, a 4-sauce option, yearly and bi-yearly options available as well too for the boxes. Then you also have all kinds of other new flavors that they have that I've never tried yet. I actually got to get that shipment in here soon of the barrel-aged whiskey and the mustard dill scorpion. Those are 2 that look very interesting, and I want to try them out. One thing I did try is one of their new options that they have here, which is the Poblano jalapeno beef jerky. But like I said, I love the Poblano jalapeno sauce, and whenever I tried this jerky, no bullshit, I ate the whole bag before I can even sit down and shoot this promo right here, all right? And so luckily, I know the owner, like I said, so I got another bag on the way, but y'all gotta go check it out. And he also told me they got some more flavors coming out of the jerky as soon as they get operations up and running on that brand new venture right there, all right? So again, make sure y'all go over tnhotsauceco.com, use promo code MMCPOD at checkout and save 20% on your order. And on top of that, Orders $50 and over are free shipping in the United States. So again, make sure you go check this out. Small batch, small brand, but powerful flavors. Tennessee Hot Sauce Company. Now, let's get back to the show. Because of the constant state of change, because of the diversity of weather. Like, that's one of the biggest things I like. I like having all 4 seasons. And, you know, as I've said on here before, I go on a walk with my dogs in the woods on trails every morning. Right. And so every day is different. And I get to see all the difference, whether it's rainy, whether it's snowy, whether it's nice, whether it's hot, whether it's cold, whatever it is. Right. Everything is there. No 2 days are exactly the same. No 2 days look exactly the same. Sometimes some days I see deer, some days I don't. Some days I see a lot of squirrels, sometimes I don't, blah, 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 all that stuff. But like I like going out there and seeing the constant state of change. And I think being in a place where the weather and the environment was pretty much the same all the time, I don't know if I would like that personally myself. Plus, my biggest stickler is I can't fucking stand snakes. And I'm talking about the animal. I can't stand the people snakes, but I definitely can't stand the animal. And where I'm at right now, the instance of poisonous animals or poisonous snakes is incredibly rare. It's like almost non-existent, right? If I were to move to southern Indiana, they have timber rattlers out the ass down there. But where I'm at here in northwestern, well, not northwestern, but like mid northwestern, so whatever. It's like the middle of the state, right? There's like hardly any. Like I said, I go walking in the woods every morning. And this year, over the last 12 months, I've seen 1 snake. And it was like 6 inches long, a little baby thing or whatever.
Pretty much a garter snake.
Probably something like that. Yeah. And that's mostly what we have. He's a garter snakes, rat snakes, and stuff like that. But the snakes are few and far between, and the poisonous ones are even more. So me being a fucking snakeophobe, I don't know what the technical word of that is, it makes it a lot better for me because I can go out, rarely see a snake. And when I do, like that little 6-inch one, I freak out like a little bitch and like run and jump over it, you know? And I'm being real. That's how I act. Right. And then I found the nearest stick and I was walking around with the stick the rest of the fucking trail. And I took that stick and like it was a big walking stick and I found it a little bit after I saw that snake and I was like, all right, when I come back through, because I gotta go back through that area, if that snake's there, then I got a stick at least to kind of get it out of here. Well, then I ended up placing that stick at the beginning of my walk, and then every day I would grab it and walk with it and down and back every day for like a couple of weeks until I didn't see any snake anymore. Like I never saw a snake after that. And so then I stopped doing that. And like, that's how crazy I am about not wanting snakes. So when people are like, oh, you should go to California, and immediately I'm like, nah, they got a lot of snakes, dude. You know, people are like, oh, you go to Florida. I'm like, no, there's a lot of snakes, dude. They're like,
South
oh, go
Carolina.
Here, go there.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah,
Georgia.
I saw a black. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I went down to Georgia one time, dude, and there's just like dead snakes in the road from getting ran over. There's so many fucking snakes. And I'm just like, nope. I'll live here, you know? And what's really weird is that like I was thinking about moving to Montana a few years back, you know, it's kind of like an idea of mine, you know, kind of like, you know, be in middle of nothingness.
Yeah.
But then I looked into it with the snake situation, and they actually have more poisonous snakes than we do here in Indiana, like even in southern Indiana. And so I'm like, well, fuck, I'm just gonna stay here then. So
Montana's a lot of wood. It's a very woodsy, pretty much hunting and stuff area. That's where.
Well, we got woodsy stuff too. But what's interesting is just this area right here. Like we have one poisonous snake that's called a Massasauga, and it's just like a local irritant poison. So like if I got bit by it, it would just irritate the fuck out of my leg right there. It wouldn't kill me like a rattlesnake would. But in Montana, they got a lot of rattlesnakes, which is weird because they're like higher up in elevation. So I don't think it's the elevation; it just happens to be some other kind of circumstance.
Yes, it's a lot. Like I said, Montana is one of the more woodsy states, like overall, like it's way more it's way woodsier than Indiana, whatever, or Michigan. Like it's
that's true.
Pretty much their major city is damn near the sticks.
Yeah, yeah, because they have like a 70% of their land is unoccupied or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I get that portion, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. But that's kind of what keeps me there. I got off on a tangent there.
But
But
now, yeah, we're just
but
talking about
no,
hey guys, hey,
yeah.
we're talking about where we live, which is,
Yeah,
that's something
exactly.
that,
Yeah, we're just talking
but
about snakes and weather, no big deal here on Music Making Sense podcast. We're talking about snakes and weather. But but no, like I get wanting to move somewhere and get something different and everything like that. And like I said, I think that's going to be something really good for you
Mhm.
because sometimes, especially with people like you, where you're at will determine your success way more than it would a person like me. A person
Yeah.
like me, where I'm at, it doesn't fucking matter, man. I
Mhm.
could be on the toilet and fucking do the same connectivity with somebody that I could in person at a fucking
Right.
live show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, I can handle more business, do everything like that in my reality. So, me staying here and everything, that's for me. But for you, like we had talked about previous episodes with, you being a stage rat and just loving that shit and the connectivity with other people. And, especially with you wanting you're working more on the sync licensing and everything like that, being in the home of all that kind of stuff is definitely going to help out because you'll randomly meet people and build connections like that, whether it's creating the music or marketing the music,
Yeah.
with actually syncing it. Everybody's got a company that, out there and everything like that. That's one thing I always hear from people is that, everybody in LA either has a startup company or they're an actor or musician of some kind. And so like everybody that you see, they're one of those things.
Yeah.
They're either running a business or they're the talent basically.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
Very much.
that's definitely gonna be a good opportunity for you. And like I said, for most of the time, I tell people, hey, the grass isn't greener on the other side, it's green where you water it, and shit makes the grass grow. But and dealing with that helps you grow as an individual. But sometimes I get it, you gotta switch some shit up,
Yeah.
you know.
Sometimes you just gotta
Just
go. You gotta go
Yeah, I
somewhere
mean,
else.
yeah, exactly. I mean, and you couldn't even have to go anywhere else. Like for me, for instance, I had a radio show style podcast for 4 years. I
Mhm.
shut that down, spent a couple years learning, getting my education up, and now we got this. So I switched my angle of attack on the whole thing, you know, uh, instead of just moving somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
switched up my shit. Sometimes you gotta do that,
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, there's a lot of people in the music industry that are like, I just want to be a creative. I don't want to deal with any of the business. So they're looking to get signed by somebody. And for some people, that's good because that is their type of personality. But for most people, it's going to be way more beneficial in the long run, especially mental health wise and lifestyle wise, if they become independent individuals, and be as independent as possible. One one
Facts.
one little episode on YouTube that I heard the other day was on Kyle Beats podcast channel.
Mhm.
He had an interview with Nick D, and so for
Okay.
those of y'all in the hip hop space, you might know of either one of them, but Nick D is the largest independent artist in the world right now.
Yeah. He sure
And
is.
yeah, and this motherfucker lives in the sticks. He has a 27-acre farm in the sticks of Pennsylvania or something like that. Like some random shit. Like he didn't literally move to a greener pasture. He just created his shit online,
Yeah.
and then now he's got the life he wants. He's got a 27-acre farm. He spends all of his days with his family, creates music whenever he wants to, everything like that. But he's figured out a way to get the lifestyle that he wants and then also still make the music that he loves to make. So he's not necessarily just making music only to fund his lifestyle, but the music is part of his lifestyle. However, he doesn't want it to be all about that. Like
Right.
he's kind of like me. He doesn't do live shows and stuff like that. Like listening to that and then listening to another episode that Kyle Beats podcast on there, they're talking about how the landscape's changed now to where people like Nick D can do millions and millions of streams a day, a month, everything like that. And but then they can't sell a fucking ticket because it's not that kind of a landscape anymore. But for
Yeah.
people like Nick D, for people like myself, we don't want to fucking sell tickets. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We are in the entertainment industry, and it's very, very diverse on how you entertain people. And
Mhm.
so he is similar to me. I think that's why I resonated with it so much, is that I want to build a lifestyle like that where I have, 20 plus acres in the middle of nowhere, and
Right.
maybe not a farm, like a little small little thing, like we chickens and garden and shit like that. But I want, my shit in the middle of nowhere. And then I want to be able to get on the internet and, create music and help artists and all that kind of stuff. I want to be able to do exactly that. And so, there's all different types of things. This kind of brings us into like the kind of
The
topic that
question, yeah, we were talking
I
about.
was wanting to talk about today is
Yeah.
there's all different positives and negatives within the music industry and just within life in general that we always got to deal with. And I always say that there's no such thing as an obstacle that you can't get past. There's always if you figure it, if you try, you can. Here, let me say it. There's no such thing as an obstacle that you can never get past. There's always a way around it, above it, over it, under it, or even through it if you have to. And
There's no
don't
obstacle that you can overcome.
Never, ever. There's always a way either around it or through it,
Yep.
and so however you have to figure that out, it's a fucking journey. And sometimes, hitting up people, it can help give you different ideas. I just had a a conference with an artist 2 days ago,
Mhm.
a new artist that I just started working with. And he's talking about trying to bring back his older catalog. He wants to renew it and refresh it and get it out because there's a lot of people that haven't heard it, and he doesn't feel like it got the light of the day that it should. And so I gave him some suggestions, and he was like, dude, I didn't even think about that. And I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, doing something like this would be good. And I'm not going to give it out because that's something that, I chart.
Sauce.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
that's
got charged for that sauce, bro.
that's the sauce. Yeah, right here. Where's that? Right there. Games
Yeah,
to be
man.
sold, not told, right? But I gave him some ideas, and he's like, "Yo, man, that's fucking genius." You know what I'm saying? And he's like, "Yeah, I definitely want to do that." And then I mean, some of the other things he didn't want to do or want to give me pushback or whatever. But there's always ways to get what you want out of this life and out of this music industry.
Yep.
And what I kind of wanted to come talk to y'all about today and kind of discuss is I actually made a post on my personal Facebook page. If y'all want to go follow it, feel free. It's Harkos Hip Hop Music. If you want to go find that. But the main place we operate is here on Music Making Sense podcast, on the socials and everything like that. musicmakingsensepod.com is where we operate and through here. But on my personal page, I just have like a ton of artists and producers and stuff like that,
Mhm.
basically to try to build my consultation and stuff like that with them.
Right.
And but anyway, so I made a post today. It says, what's one thing in the music industry you absolutely hate? Right. And now hate's kind of a
Mm.
strong word, but I worded it like that in order to get like at
That's
least
a
one
very strong point. Yeah.
strong opinion out of people, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I just want to go over a couple of them here, and we'll kind of go through them and everything like that. But get the fuck, my fucking voice activation just anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I must have said something that triggered my phone to be like, oh yeah, you want the voice assistant? But anyway, anyway, so one guy, the first guy, he said commercial radio, right? And I asked him why,
Mm.
because you gotta have clean. Is it because you gotta have clean music, or because of payola? You know what I'm saying? Because that's something big within commercial radio, terrestrial
Oh
radio.
yeah.
And he was kind of getting more with, there's not a lot of variety. They play the same fucking songs and everything like that all the time, blah blah
Oh,
blah.
okay.
You know what I'm saying? I 100% get that and everything like that. And I actually took that as an opportunity to suggest to him, a new independent radio station that actually Music Making Sense podcast is now being replayed on as well too. We're in rotation there, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern every single day. You can check out Music Making Sense podcast on truthhiphop.com, which is an internet radio station. There's a bunch. If you love real, raw, conscious hip hop, you got to go check that out. Even if you don't listen at 8 to listen to the Music Making Sense podcast, it's like 24/7, just straight fucking raw, real music. It's dope.
Wow.
Yeah, but yeah, we're up on there now. We've been branching out a little bit, which is gonna help us, but help a lot of artists as well too.
Yeah.
And then so the next guy on here says people who befriend you just to get your contacts. Now, I haven't really got any more information out of him. I was like, well, that's kind of everywhere. People always,
Yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I told him too. I was like, yeah, that's kind of everywhere. And then another person said souls for sale, right? And so I'm not sure. I said, I kind of said that's in every industry as well too. There's always people who prostitute themselves for, the greater goals and gold and stuff like that.
That's in any
Um,
business. Sorry.
yeah, that's in any business. But what I thought was pretty interesting is as soon as he said souls for sale, I just thought of Freddie Gibbs' last album called Soul Sold Separately, right?
Hmm.
And he kind of like there's a reason he's leaving the music industry. Let's just say
Yeah.
that. Another person said fake accents. And I was like, what? That's a thing? And he's like, yeah, in the UK it is. I was like, what? People faking American accents? And he's like, yeah, and some London twang roadman accent. I'm not really quite sure what that is, but
I'm lost.
one of the UK born artists that I know, he commented on it. He said, "Who the hell is faking accents in the UK?" Right?
How in the
But
hell can you fake an American accent in the UK?
well, there's a lot of people that can, man.
Sing
Like yeah, when they
when
sing and
they
stuff like
sing.
that,
It's
like the
just when they
Beatles.
sing.
Yeah, it's mainly when they sing and stuff. So I don't know how they do it in hip hop, but the kind of what he was saying is like people putting like
Iggy
a
Azalea.
yeah, it's like people putting like a London twang on their stuff, or whatever.
Right.
Oh, and they're not from there or something like that.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
I could
Yeah, I
see
can
that.
see you. Like,
Yeah.
if we come over there, we be like, hey,
Mhm.
what's going on there, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, we going
Yeah.
over there doing that. Yeah, okay, I can see
Yeah,
that. But
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And so like well, even still, like people from certain parts of the UK have different accents. And so they try to have an accent of a more popular, like they say they're not from London, they're from like the sticks where they got a different accent,
oh,
stuff
okay.
like that. I think that's what he was getting at. Another guy said paperwork, right? Which is one I hear a lot from people. And I said, so do you just prefer to create and not do the business side, which is what a lot of people talk about. And he was talking about, yeah, that's pretty much it. But he also recommended that a lot of artists, at least like you say, KP, learn a good amount of the business side so that they know how to not get fucked, basically, for
Right.
lack of better terms, right? And I believe that as well too, because he's saying like he finds it boring. He likes doing the creative stuff better, but at the same time, like he's kind of got a team that he helps out with and stuff like that. He does that part, and whenever the stats come back, he feels accomplished. And that
Hmm.
helps him feel good knowing that, things are going positive and his work
Right.
that he's doing that he doesn't like to do is actually paying off.
Hmm.
But he would much rather not. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of artists like that. Absolutely.
Pretty
You
much, I
know,
would say 80%.
That's the way I see it too. And that's why a lot of people will like take the easy way, and go and get signed to a label or bare minimum some management deal or something
Yeah.
like that, is so they don't have to worry about all that stuff. But I always recommend to people, I'm like, hey, look, like I get it. If you don't have a business mind or something like that, don't get an actual like music manager and definitely don't sign to no label, right? What I recommend to people is find just a business manager who can manage like the overall business, and then you work with that business manager to find freelancers and stuff like that to do specific gigs and tasks that you need done to get you from A to B,
But
and
learn the business.
right. Yeah. And so, but by doing that, you are learning the business, but you have somebody, the business manager, who is doing the day to day, but you know what to do and you work with them almost like you're the owner and they're like for instance, you own a restaurant, but they're the restaurant manager. You know what I'm saying? You know how it runs because you built it, right? You know how to do all the business aspects of your music career, but you hire somebody in to manage the day to day, the mundane shit, right? Kind of like, you're just outsourcing the shit you don't want to do, but you know how to do,
Know how
right?
to
But
do.
like you always say, learn how to do it.
Yeah.
But if you want to hire somebody else to come in there and to do it, and then you just kind of work with them, you have daily, weekly meetings, whatever the fuck, do something like that.
Yeah.
Because that way you will be independent still. You will still be free to live life however you want to. You can create the music you want to. You can go in and do the tours that you want to. You can do the shows that you want to. You can do whatever the fuck you want to, which is what most people want to do. They want to live a life of freedom to where they can do whatever they want to do. And obviously it goes without saying, most people don't want to harm or take from other people, so they just want to live their life in peace and live it, and so you build something like that where how to do some of the stuff push comes to shove, but you get somebody else who maybe specializes in it a little bit more, and then you freelance out, you freelance out your graphics, or you freelance out, your show bookings to somebody, whatever, and kind of do stuff like that, but you still keep control over it. So you're still the CEO. And then you have, CMO, which is chief marketing officer, chief operational officer, chief financial officer, what I'm saying? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
You become your own corporation instead of signing to somebody else, because then you're just an employee. All right, y'all, Harcos here. I just wanted to take a quick little break from the episode to let every single one of you artists know about a great opportunity for you to grow your online presence through blogs and social media for 30 days for only $10. If you've already been checking out the podcast, I've already talked about this a little bit here and there, but I created 10 blog websites that all have their own social media presence on Twitter and Facebook, and they are growing leaps and bounds, getting tens of thousands of impressions and eyeballs every single month. And that's just not in total, that's every single account. I have a full video breakdown available for this on every platform where you're listening to this right here, right now. The episode is called How Much Marketing Can $10 Get You? All right, I go through a full explanation of it, but if you've already watched that and you want to find out more, go ahead and go to musicmakingsensepod.com, send me a message in chat, and I will get right back to you, and we will get this rocking and rolling and get you growing on social media, especially if you want to grow that presence on Twitter or X. This will definitely help you out. Like I said, I got 10 blog websites with 10 different Twitter accounts that have tens of thousands of impressions every single month. You can be right there with them, getting all those eyeballs and growing your presence online. So make sure you hit me up right now, musicmakingsensepod.com. Hit the chat button and send me a message, and we will get you on point with this great new promotion. All right, let's get back to the episode. Yeah. So that's how I always recommend it to people as well. But yeah, another guy said ego, and I was like, well, that's everywhere. But he's talking about how, there seems to just be something extra about musicians where the ego, it causes more issues than in any other industry.
I can see where,
Yeah, and I could see that. I mean, especially in hip hop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Hip hop is very egocentric, but even still in your realm, KP, with
LA, people call LSD lead singer's disease and shit like
well,
that.
There's that. Yeah, lead singers get their disease and everything like that too. But then also, with bands and stuff like that, man, most of the time they break up over ego.
Like, oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, I mean, like anytime there's more than one person in a collective, usually ego is the reason that they break up. It's either ego or they want to go separate directions. Like, for instance, like Outkast, right? Big Boy wanted to go one direction and Andre 3000 wanted to go another direction. So they just kind of split. They're still cool. They're still friends, everything like that. They just wanted to do different things with the business, That's rare, though. Most of the time is that motherfucking ego, and that's why hip hop's mostly solo artists, because they have some of the biggest fucking egos.
Well, it's such a competitive genre too, where it's like, you're saying, hey, I'm the man, I'm that chick, I'm that, I'm them, I'm him, I'm her, that whole attitude. So yeah.
Well, even in like any other kind of collective, rock or country or jazz or whatever, when you got a collective group, there's that as well too. You're trying to be the top act. You want to be the new Metallica taking over a decade. You want to be the new, whatever, who takes over a whole decade.
Oh yeah.
And you're that person. You're headlining all the festivals. You're doing all that, but that's all ego.
Yeah, I remember when fucking Lamb of God. I remember when Slayer was out. I was watching a video with Lamb of God, and they were like, yeah, we love Slayer, but we want those motherfuckers to get old and tired. I mean, I was like, damn. And then what sucked was that I turned around and this is where people started kind of coming at, well, I kind of got called out for ego, but it was from one of my old bandmates. I thought it was straight up bullshit, but he got mad because when I saw Lamb of God do that to Slayer, I said, well, shit, I think we're fucking as good as Lamb of God.
There you go.
Right. And oh no, dude, it ended up starting it started a whole argument on fucking Facebook with us.
What, he didn't like that aspect?
No, he did not like that at all.
Why not? Like, what about it?
Because he felt like I was disrespecting Lamb of God.
Yeah, but they're not actually the Lamb of God. They're just another band of humans like us. Like, how's that disrespectful? Like, that's the name of the game, you know? The old go out to pasture and the new come up to rise.
Yeah, but here's the funny thing. We're all around the same age. That's the crazy part.
Oh,
okay. But at the same time, it was like, I just felt like, you know what? Fuck that. We were just as good. I felt like we were just as good as a lot of those bands out there. Right. And I didn't disrespect Lamb of God. I said, I feel like I'm like, yo, we could be on stage with them.
Yeah, let's give them a run for their money. Let's open for them, and then they'll open for us next time.
I was like, hell yeah. And he could not. Oh my God. It was like, to him, it was like, I felt like a little too, like, in a lot of ways, I did feel like it was a little racial too. Like, it was like, how dare me, you know, this little nigger boy fucking, you know, I'm a grown fucking man, but you know, that mindset of that little nigger, how dare he go up there and do that shit? Like, dude, this is Lamb of God, and we shouldn't be talking like that. You need to be more humble and
more respectful to your elders or whatever.
Like, nigga, I'm like, dude, they're about my age. The fuck are you talking about? And I think we're almost as old. We were just their age, and some of them some of the guys were older than them.
Yeah, I know you were saying that you dealt with that a lot in metal, which kind of like hurt your soul because you love metal so much.
Yeah.
But then like in some of the sects of metal, like especially like the darker shit, it is still more heavily racist type shit.
Oh, fuck yeah.
You know, and that hurts you, you know, and like I know with you and your best friend Phil and Selmo, you know, you guys got some issues and stuff. But like, yeah, I know that has to be
it does. It's
point
hurtful.
Of contention.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, I can see that, you know. Absolutely. Yeah, especially when it's like your heart and your soul, like that's how you bleed. You know?
So for me, I think that would be, if you were to ask me, would be my hate. That would be what I hate about the industry is that
the ego.
It's not the ego. It's the kissing ass when you know damn good and well you are just as good, or even in many cases better.
Yeah. Or even,
and you gotta bow down to them and shit. No, fuck that.
Exactly. Oh, I've always been like that. You know, me and you are both ex-military. I was like that in the military too. Like, yeah, obviously, you know, give respect where it's due to, you know, people who outrank you and stuff like that. But I was always the cool, calm, and collected person when a superior walked in the room. I wasn't the one freaking out like, oh, you know, so-and-so's around. Oh, that's the base commander. Oh, that's whoever. I was just like, how's it going, sir?
I know, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, you know, I always told people like, oh, you know, well, that's so-and-so. I'm like, and he's just a fucking human, just like me and you. He just been doing different things. He's got a different job. I'm like, I'll give him the respect of his rank and him as an individual and stuff.
Right, but I'm not gonna put in, but I'm not gonna kiss his ass.
I'm not gonna kiss his ass. I'm not gonna cower down to him and stuff like that. Most of the time, people don't like that. You know, like there's a lot that got, you know, on their ego shit, and they're all like, oh no, you know, but you know, power tripping and shit. But a lot of them don't, and I realized that quick. Is that like, you know, there was a situation where whenever I was in Iraq, I would give briefings once a week to the base commander. And like the base commander, which is, you know, a general and shit. And you know, I would give briefings, and I was a lower enlisted. I wasn't even a sergeant. And
you were like an E3 or an E4?
I was an E4 at that time, right? And no, it wasn't the base commander. Sorry, it was battalion commander.
Yeah.
Because it was the Fulbright colonel. It was him, and then like all of his fucking staff, right? So like I was the lowest ranking person in the room, like, technically there was some second lieutenants in there, who are technically, probably had the same amount of time in service as me, but they outranked me.
They
but
outranked,
like, yeah, but like for the enlisted, for like the non-officers, I'll try to keep it civilian speak for those of y'all who've never had military experience. But for the non-officers, you get the sergeants and stuff. Like, I was the lowest ranking
officers.
One. Yeah, I was the lowest ranking one in there. The next highest ranking one was well, there was some first sergeants in there because I rode with my first sergeant to that, and then I rode with my first sergeant and my commander. But yeah,
so you're a specialist or a corporal?
I was a specialist.
Okay, and, so okay.
Yeah, corporal was pretty much useless. It's the same exact thing.
It's the same. That's what I was figuring.
They treat you like an NCO without actually giving you the rank. No, fuck that. I never wanted to do that. I wanted to go straight to fucking E5. But no, they but yeah, like the next highest person was like an E8. And so for those of y'all who don't know, in E4 where I was at, I was only in for like 2.5. I think I was like at 2.5, almost 3-year mark at that point, right? An E8 has been in the military for at least 12 to 15
years. Yeah.
Yeah, because
that does depend on MOS as well.
Yeah,
too.
It depends on a lot of stuff like that. But like the fastest you can get the E7 is 12 years.
12.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like this guy was an E8 and stuff like that. And I was doing the job of what was supposed to be an E7, but we were kind of scattered all over Iraq. My company was.
And so, sergeant, you were doing non-commissioned officers.
Yeah, I was doing a high-ranking non-commissioned officer work. But still, when I walked up in there, I just walked up in there and I was cool, calm, and collected and stuff like that. And I did my job. And whenever I was doing it, I got the respect of everyone in the fucking room. All these people who they just like look at me, they're like, hey, he's cool, calm, and collected. He's not kissing our ass.
Squared away, boy.
He knows what the fuck he's doing. And, he's giving us respect, but he's not cowering to us.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And, I mean, fuck, I earned one of my awards from doing that kind of shit. Just like from outstanding performance way above and beyond the Call of Duty type shit. No, I didn't save nobody's life. I was doing bullshit at that time. Right. But still, to say what you're saying, in the industry, there's a lot of kiss asses because so-and-so is above, oh, that's the person I need to get to the next level, blah, 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 kiss their asses and everything like that. Or, oh, that's a record label. Oh, that's an A&R. No, that's another fucking human being with a different job than you, And so once you realize that they're just another person just like you, and yeah, they may have different roles and responsibilities in life than what you do, but they're not anything more special than you.
No. And just to give you guys a little bit of a little story about that, man. When I met Michael Lasco of Taxi Music, I had a bit of an intimidation with him too. I was a little intimidated because he is he's the founder and owner and CEO of Taxi Music. And, when you're in that position, you're always like thinking about, okay, I don't want to goof this one up. I don't want to say any dopey comments. I don't want to do anything stupid on Facebook or online or YouTube. First impression. Yeah. But then when I realized, I was like, you know what, Coley, fuck that, nigga, be you.
Exactly.
Right. Like, and I mean, I straight up had to do that because I was also, there was a couple people there who had, who were like, that woke my conscience up in a sense, like with certain things that they want to say and the tone policing and things like that. And I just had to say, I had to embrace certain things that was being said to me. That people were liking my energy. Even when I just walked in, they felt it. They were like, okay, there's something about him. And I realized that. I'm like, you know what? Fuck that. I mean, as much as I respect Michael, shout out to you, Michael. I love you, right? But at the same time, when I got up and performed, and he said that I almost scared that I scared the Pomeranian, my sweet little Africa. Shout out to Bree in Africa, right? I scared, but I was myself, because then I picked up the dog and loved on her and everything, right? And it's my baby. That was my little baby. I love her, right? And it was,
but energy is everything, and you went in there with yours.
Yeah. And it was like, and I had to say, fuck that, man. Just be you. If you fuck up, fine. Fuck
Right.
up. Right?
Yep.
But be you.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And you know, like when I was in the military, I kind of got a little too far on the deep end mentally, where I actually got to the point where I was like, look, the worst any fucking human could ever do is fucking kill me. So fuck
Yeah.
them. I don't give a shit what, you know what I'm saying? Like I got
Mhm.
like the life or death type shit in my head, but that's kind of what you do in a war zone. But not saying
Oh
it's a good
yeah.
thing, it's just how it goes. But no, like I mean, I developed a thing where I'm just like, you know, that's just another human. I'm not gonna fucking bend over backwards for them. What the fuck they gonna do to me? Kill me? That's the
Yeah.
worst thing they could do to me. That's the only thing they can really do to me, you know? And yeah, you know, some people will have the power and stuff to ruin your make or break your life or ruin it and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you know, there's fucking 8 billion people on the planet. There's no way one individual can ruin your life bad enough to where you can't bounce back from that shit yourself. You know,
No.
whether you gotta move to another state, another country, another city, whatever the fuck, if you gotta do that to start fresh or whatever, you know, sometimes you gotta do that.
And that's what
But
I gotta do.
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
where I'm at.
exactly.
That's
Yeah,
where I'm at.
but there's no person on the planet who can ruin your life that you can't come back from, unless of
Nope.
course they end it. You know what I'm saying?
The
Which
only person
hopefully
who
they
can
don't.
truly do that is you.
Yeah,
Right? Like
exactly.
truthfully, you are the one
Hmm.
person, and unless somebody takes your life, right?
Hmm.
That's
Yeah,
it. But really, the person that can ruin your own life is you.
is you. Yep,
And
absolutely.
the person who can beat yourself, who can beat you down worse, is you.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. That's 100% right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the list here. So
Mhm.
let me see here. Somebody else put on here people who know nothing about the hip hop culture but make the important decisions. Yeah, obviously that's a big thing, especially in music. You
In
know, a lot
music.
of people that don't know about the cultural thing, they're just the administration, you
Yeah.
know. And I was telling him that too. I was like, man, the administration always has a disconnect with the ground level in any industry. And
Yeah.
he's like, exactly. So he was 100% on board with what I repeated back. Another person here, I'm kind of in the middle of a conversation on this with him, but he said streams. And so I said, why do you hate them? Right. And this kind of goes back to what we were talking about on last episode where you were like, hell, fuck, I love streams, they're the best. Right.
Mhm.
And he said they ruined actual plays, spins, and sales. Right. And I said, I get the sales part, you know, album sales and everything like that. Those are
Okay.
basically in the trash because of streams. I was like, but streams are plays, you know, and I kind of hear that from people as well, too, is that, you know, streaming's ruined the music industry and everything like that. And like we kind of talked about in last episode and on other previous episodes, you know, like KP said, you know, so eloquently last week, is like streams are people listening to your fucking music. And that's what
Yeah.
you want as an artist is people listening to your fucking music. So however they're listening to music is how they're listening to music. It's on you to figure out different ways to monetize. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I think what he's going off of is that basically, you know, like before the iPhone, right? Before
Mhm.
2012, the only ways to listen to music were on terrestrial radio. XM radio started coming around and stuff like that too, right? But radio, right,
Mhm.
where people were curating playlists for you basically. Or on TV like MTV, BET, stuff like that, VH1 or whatever, where
Friday
people were
night videos.
yeah,
Yeah.
where people were curating music for you,
For you.
right? It was all people curating music for you. That's the only way you can listen to music. Or if you went to a record store, which was kind of curated, but they had a whole lot of selection, more shit than you would ever
And you
hear on the
could yup,
radio.
and you could listen to stuff that you didn't
Mhm.
hear on the radio.
Yep, exactly. Because a lot of indie labels would be able to get into record stores and stuff like that, where they couldn't get on
Mom and
MTV and
pop
stuff like
records,
that.
yeah. And they
Yeah,
would get in
mom
the
and
mom and
pops.
pop record
Mhm.
stores and stuff like that. Yep.
Yeah, and then like, you know, there was a lot of stories, a ton of stories about, you know, artists who would go to a record store and, you know, build that sales relationship with that person or whatever, that, hey, can you put this here? I'll give you X amount, blah, 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 everything like that. They were doing that business to get their records on the shelves physically
Yep.
themselves. You know, like for instance, like I said, there's a million different examples of this, but for one instance I can think off the top of my head was ICP, Insane Clown
Mhm.
Posse. For those of y'all who don't know, when they came out with their first album, they were getting in the stores and they would actually go, this is something I don't recommend, but they would actually go and buy their own records at the store. That way they would get reorders,
Hell, I
right?
did that. I would do that. I would I would play my songs on Spotify when I first I would play them. I would repeat the fuck out of them. I didn't give a shit,
Yep.
dude. It's my I mean, Rick Barker even said do that, dude.
Yeah, I did that
Why
a little
not?
bit. I used to do that a little bit as well too. Like whenever we would like leave the house or whatever, I'd turn on Spotify and put on like my playlist or whatever, and just have it in loop on repeat while I was gone for a few hours or whatever. And now obviously, you know, Spotify doesn't count all of those streams and stuff like that, but you know, it's the same kind of principle where, you know, you're going and buying your records. But either way, like I said, I think a lot of people, they got so used to, for decades, the way you get your music out there was having physical copies, selling those, doing tours, and then moving up the fucking food chain. And it's not like that anymore, you know? And so that's why I try to get across to a lot of people where I'm just like, hey man, like I kind of take it to extreme and I say, fuck physical shit, go 100% digital. Right. But that's me. I'm kind of an extremist, but you know, at the same time,
but you can
50%, yeah, you can. Yes,
you
absolutely. But bare minimum 50%, you got to do 50 online, 50 in person. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because, you know, in person has so many more variables and barriers and stuff like that you have to deal with, which, like we said before, barriers are just obstacles you got to figure a way around or through. But like, you know, there's so many more that you have to deal with that actually kind of have like a higher price tag, not just in your time and your effort, but in your money as well too. You know, and this is called music making sense. We're trying to make some sense, and it's spelled sense as in the monetary unit here in America for
CNTS, sense.
Exactly, sense. But but you know, like going digital, yeah, there is like a lot more competition out there, but it's cheaper monetarily as well as, you know, time and brain power wise to get your shit out there than it is in the physical and stuff. And so I know he's a little bit of an older artist and stuff like that, been doing it a while, and so I understand where he's coming from on that one, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and even like and even with like Curtis King, I mean, you know, he was talking about, shout out to Curtis King. I ain't mad at him. We just got into a little thing. I ain't tripping on him that hard. But
I wasn't gonna bring that up, but yeah, okay.
But anyway, right. I mean, I'm not.
They got in the back and forth on.
Yeah, we got a little back and forth on live, but yeah, anyway. It's all good. But anyway, he's. I have to give him a big shout out. And the reason I'm saying is because I'm one of those people, like, even if I get into it with you about something, if you're doing something that's fucking good, I'm going to give you your credit regardless.
Well, you're just being real, because you're not going to agree with everything anybody says.
Right. And he's not going to agree with me. And I mean, it's so no hard feelings, but I do have to give him, I got to give him mad love and props on this. He ended up taking his music off Spotify.
He took all of his music off. He took
his music on off the platforms. Okay. And he ended up making so far, and I'm quite sure he's gonna make way more, but he ended up making $400 just off of his own sales, because I think it's on his own website or something. And I'm like, hell yeah, kudos to him. Shit, yeah, dude.
But see, the thing is, sorry, you're probably gonna say the same thing. The thing is, he built his profile up to a certain
where
level,
he can do that.
Where he can do that. Just like Talib Kweli, right? He only releases his music videos on Patreon. He doesn't put them up on YouTube and Vivo and all that shit. He only on Patreon. He can do that though, because he's fucking got name recognition. He's built up that fan base of the loyal hardcore super fans that will go and pay $5 a month to be able to watch music videos from him, and then get all these extras, or 20 or however many dollars a month. Yeah,
and Curtis is dope. I mean, if you heard Curtis rap, Curtis can bust. So it's like, yeah, he's gonna get people fucking up there, dude. Hell yeah. I mean, I could totally see him making, see him making tons of cash from right there, because he can bust. And he's built his following. He's built his fan base. He's been in the mud with the shit, dude. He got it. I mean, he has. He's already interviewed La Russell. Like, I mean, you know, come on. I mean, I'm not ever gonna sit there and discredit a man who's out there doing his goddamn thing.
No.
All like I said, all I wanted to do is hear Rhapsody rap over a fucking JPEG Mafia beat. That's all I want. I don't give a shit, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not speaking from a business, and I think I didn't express that. I wasn't speaking from a business perspective. I'm speaking as a fan of those two. It's Rhapsody and JPEG Mafia. If y'all hear me, I would love for y'all to do a fucking track together. I swear to God. Exactly. I really do. I would fucking that shit would blow my mind because both of them are very conscious, very intelligent, and radical artists. So I would really love to see them come out like that. I mean, and I don't know if Curtis listens to JPEG, but I know that JPEG is a radical guy, and that's why I know Rhapsody is also a very, very radical sister. So that's what I would want. But I mean, big up to him. But at the same time, like you said, with back to what we were saying,
I think that's how people should do it.
Yeah, I mean,
have your shit on all streaming platforms. Give people the availability to listen to you as freely as possible, literally as freely as possible, with their time as well with their money, right?
Right.
And then as you grow and you get bigger, then you kind of narrow that bucket in a little bit, right? You first you start off giving people exclusives if they give you money, giving people extra value if they give you money, right? And then when you start building that up, then you can start taking all these freebies and being like, hey, I got low cost options. I'm not doing the free.
I'm not
anymore,
doing the free for it. Yeah. And
you know what I'm saying?
But yeah, and then you can be able to do that. But that's how you're able.
Low cost could be just the email. You know what I'm saying? You could be like, hey, if you're listening to me on streaming platforms, no longer am I going to have my music on my streaming platforms, but free digital downloads of select items on my website, right? And you go there and you give them a free download, but you got to give them their email first. Boom, done deal. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And then you funnel them into the fan journey like we were talking about in the last episode. All right, y'all, let me take a quick break right here to tell you about something that's completely fucking ridiculous, okay? It's called HorribleDesigns.com. And I personally know the owner, and he's just as ridiculous as this whole fucking company is, okay? If you or someone you know loves stickers and mugs and shirts with crazy, outlandish sayings on them that just are designed to catch people's attention out in public and get them to laugh and point and ask you, hey, where'd you get that t-shirt, or where'd you get that sticker, when they see it on your car and stuff like that, y'all got to go check out HorribleDesigns.com. At HorribleDesigns.com, they have all kinds of ridiculous sayings on stickers and coffee mugs, t-shirts, vinyl stickers, magnets, and even mouse pads, okay? And I'm telling you, if you guys have not checked out HorribleDesigns.com, you got to go check it out, because some things are straight up great, like the American Muscle mouse pad. It's got some awesome pictures of great muscle cars if you're into cars, or you know somebody who's into muscle cars and they need some great mouse pad to have while they're on the computer working. But then they also have dumbass fucking t-shirts that say things like, are you staring at my ass, with a picture of a donkey on it, or stickers that say, are you staring at my beaver, with a picture of a beaver on it. Stuff like that, man. Completely ridiculous shirts and stickers, coffee mugs, everything like that. Anything that you could ever think about having just to get people's attention, make a statement out in public, and just completely be ridiculous, and to do it with some horrible designs at the exact same time. And like I said, I know the owner, so he hooked us up with a great deal where you can save right now by using the link below in the description. Whenever you go there and shop, you will not only support Music Making Sense podcast, but you also get a great deal on any and everything that you decide to purchase every time that you use that link right there in the description below. So make sure you go check that out right now, HorribleDesigns.com. Use the link below in order to get good savings. Go check it out. Buy some ridiculous shit for yourself or someone you know. All right, now let's get back to the show.
Yeah, and I've always said this, no matter what. And from the beginning, when I started, even when we started learning about streaming, I always said, I straight up said it immediately, that it is a promotional tool. It's a marketing promotional tool. That's what it is. It's easy to get your music out there because, okay, here's why. Easy. It's okay. Here's why. And it's since we're talking about this, and I mean, really, consumers rule the world when it comes to fucking music. Okay.
Yeah. Well, consumers run the world, honestly,
Yeah,
because
really,
and if
really,
you make it easy for them, it's easier for them.
it's easier for them. And why do we keep? And that's why it's like I don't understand the. Look, I get it, but we've got to stop pushing back on what our fans want, what our fans are consuming. We got to think about this. We were consumers before we became actual musicians.
Exactly. You didn't come out the womb fucking hitting on a keyboard and stuff like that. You heard people hit on
No,
keyboards first.
thank you. We
Exactly.
saw the drummer. We saw Tommy Lee spinning in that damn contraption up there, right? We saw Run DMC and we saw Steven Tyler bust through the wall when the air and Run DMC
Walk this
standing there
way,
like
yeah.
this, right? Doing what? We saw that. We saw it. We listened to Casey Kasem, who comes from Denby High School in Detroit. Rest in peace to the man of America's Top 10, right? We saw him introduce us. Hi, I'm Casey Kasem, and this is America's Top 10. Right? We saw that. We heard Wolfman Jack. Yeah, can you dig it? We heard it, right? We heard that. We saw this. This is why we do that. Like, I guess, it baffles me when I hear so many of us like trip out on consumption when that's what we did. That's what we're raised on. Sorry.
Yeah. A lot of people, they don't like change that they don't initiate. And if they feel like they're behind the curve of the change, that makes them hate it even more. You know what I'm saying? If they feel like they're on the leading edge,
very good point.
If they're on the leading edge of the change, they love it.
Yeah.
If they feel like they're getting left behind and ran over by the change, no, thank you.
How dare you?
Exactly. And I understand that, right?
Yeah, totally.
I understand that 100%. I felt like that before as well, too. But then I had to change my perspective on things. And I'm like, hey, look, okay, I'm getting left behind and ran over. Let me fix that. Let me fix that. However I fucking need to, let me fix that. I see this change coming in the industry, whatever industry it is, music industry or factory industry or whatever industry. I see this change happening. Let me not get fucking left behind. Let me not get ran over.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I get that from that perspective. But then I also hear people, you know, when they're in that mode, they see everything as negative. So like, oh, well, everybody's just cheap now. They want everything for free, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, what do you think fucking terrestrial radio was? What do you think MTV and BET was? I mean, technically you had to pay for the premium channels for that, but you know what I'm saying? What do you think terrestrial radio was? How about that? You literally put electricity to a little fucking device and turn it on and tune properly and just pick up fucking signals out of the air. You only had to pay for the electricity. That's it. You didn't have to pay for nothing else. You know what I'm saying? That was free as fuck. Music has almost always been free initially on the surface level. It's free. Right?
Yep.
It's out there everywhere. You hear it on the radio, and then TVs and movies came along. You hear it on there, you know what I'm saying? And commercials and all that shit. That you'd hear the music for free. And then you would go buy the CD. You would go buy the merchandise, or pay for the live shows, whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? You go down that journey, but it's always free.
Yep.
And like you said last week, KP, which was awesome, dude. I didn't even think about it like that. I don't think is that we all want to have our music heard as artists, but with streaming, it's free on the consumer, but we still actually make something off of it. It's not a lot, but it's something. It's better than zero. You know, when your music is played on the radio, like, you know. Technically, you know, with mechanical royalties, you get paid off of that shit, right?
Yeah, performance performance royalties.
Yeah, that shit. I was going to go down some, but I had to think about it for a second. I'm like, yeah, you technically still don't get paid on that, right? But you get paid for people consuming something for free on their end. And you get paid a little bit more if they subscribe to that, to that streaming platform. You know what I'm saying? You know, we went off that list too. You know, there's regular Spotify with ads, and there's Spotify Premium. There's YouTube with ads. There's YouTube Premium, stuff like that. You know, you get paid different levels for everything. You know, but you're giving people what they want for free to them, and you're still making money off of it. Take that as the initial. and then build off of that. You know what I'm saying? In every
They don't even,
single,
yeah.
in every single one of your songs, at the end of your song that you put out on all these streaming platforms, have a tag at the end of it where you are on there talking to your fans saying, hey, appreciate you listening to this on whatever streaming platform you're listening to right now. I appreciate you as a fan. If you want to hear more of my music, go to my profile here on wherever you're listening, or go to my website, blah, blah, blah.com, right? And you get free download, right? Put that at the end of it. You still gave them the whole song for free. And then you put a little ad on the end on how they can get more shit for free directly from you. Right.
Oh my God.
This is the type of shit. I'm not going to keep going because I could give the whole game away. But this is the type of shit. This is the type of shit I talk about to these artists, man. That's why I just started working with another artist the other day. That's why I'm working with all these people, right? Because whenever I get on the initial call and I drop some knowledge, they're like, God damn, I didn't think about that. I'm like, yeah, let's keep going down this. All right. Here's my PayPal. Let's keep going down this. Right. Exactly. I'm not expensive, but here's my PayPal. Let's keep going down this journey and help you out. You know what I'm saying? Right. Because exactly. But for real though, how do I have this knowledge? Right. And you may be asking, how do I have this knowledge? I am a genius, but like I wasn't born like this. You know what I'm saying? I was born with the capacity to be a genius, but I had to go and get the knowledge myself.
Yeah, hey, facts, right? Man, facts.
I had to learn off of lesser humans who knew a little bit more than me in certain areas in order for me to collaborate all this great knowledge into my great brain, right? I know KP loves whenever I get on my shit, but and that's why I call me getting on my Donald Trump shit. I'm the best. I'm the most smartest person on the fucking planet. Right,
it's huge. It's huge.
Yeah,
huge.
my brain is the most huge. It's the biggest. There's nobody who's ever had a bigger brain than me. But for real though, I have seen all these obstacles, and I have been about the mind state for quite a while now.
Right.
That every fucking barrier in my way is this obstacle I need to figure out how to go around or go through. And I figure out a way to go around or go through every fucking obstacle.
Yeah.
So, like anytime somebody says, oh man, you'll never beat me in this, I'm like, bitch, I always fucking win.
Watch me go work, motherfucker.
You know what I'm saying? I had an argument with somebody who was a personal situation, and they were like, oh no, you're not gonna win on this or whatever. I'll win on the situation, right? I'm not gonna go in depth, but no, I'll win. Right. I'm like, you of all people know damn well that I never fucking lose.
Right.
I figure out a way.
That's like betting against Tom Brady. It's like betting against Tom Brady, bro.
I figure out a way every time. I may have some setbacks, but I figure out how to fucking overcome. You know what I'm saying? And like the smaller the obstacle, the fucking easier it is for me to figure out how to overcome. You know what I'm saying? The big obstacles, they take a little bit of time.
Oh,
right? Yeah. But one way or another, I'm gonna figure this shit out. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep going because I don't like to quit. And if I have something in mind that I want to do, I figure it out. And so that's how I learned all this stuff, and you can do that too as an artist. Yeah. Obviously, like we just said, I'm the best. So you can fucking get my PayPal and we can go down this journey. Right. but like for real though, you can learn a lot of the same stuff yourself if you want to, and we're kind of hitting up on the time, so maybe we'll go over some of the more of the things that people were saying in there.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, let's go over a couple more of those.
Those were just the things, in the other, that's just a lot of those right there by coincidence just happen to be a lot of the things I hear people talk about all the time.
Those are very frequent.
People don't like the ego. They don't like the business portion of it. And then they don't like the mainstream toxicity portion of it either. And, like I was talking with somebody before this, like there are ways around it now.
Yeah.
Like I said, Music Making Sense podcast is now up on truthhiphop.com, which is an internet radio station that plays all conscious, real, raw hip hop all day, every day. And then now Music Making Sense podcast is getting rebroadcast twice a day on the 8s Eastern time. Every fucking day as well too. There are places out there where you can go and listen to the music that you want to, where you can go and take your music to the place where people want to listen to that. You know what I'm saying? Because this radio station, it's an indie radio station. It's up and coming, everything like that. It's growing. And he's constantly getting more and more listeners all the time. you know, and because these listeners miss that. They have the same objections that some of these people said. I don't like the fucking mainstream bullshit anymore. I don't like listening to terrestrial radio, hearing the same 7 tracks all fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
So they go and listen to truehiphop.com.
Right.
And that's where you can find all the raw, real hip hop that you want to listen to that you can't find anywhere else. Plus, you can also find Music Making Sense podcast as well. But, you know, that's a little plug right there for them. Shout out to them 100% for having us on.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah. But like, you know, that's the thing as well, too, is that no matter what your industry is, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm big in hip hop and everything like that. But if you want to hear free jazz, well, I know somebody who creates that, who at least did one project on that, right? Mr. KP is one that's only over here. But there's plenty of other people as well, too. There's communities that love that shit. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, our communities have always been fractionated, right? But now with the internet, they're even more fractionated, but it's easier to join in them now. Mm-hmm. You know, it used to be a physical thing. It's like you used to have to go to New York or LA to make it in the entertainment business.
Yeah.
Now, fucking, like I said, Nick D, one of the biggest independent artists on the fucking planet right now, lives in rural Pennsylvania or some shit on a 27-acre farm. And he didn't even go to any of New York, LA, Atlanta, or whatever to make it in the music industry. He stayed in fucking bumfuck Egypt, Pennsylvania. Right.
Yeah, but I know a couple of guys in freaking in the sync licensing side. They're like living small towns. Like one guy lives in Quebec. Yeah, and he gets mad fucking syncs. He gets mad forwards. So
yeah, and that's the beauty of the internet, you know. So, you know, a lot of people, they don't like the whole streamification of everything. I get it, but at the same time, learn how to use that.
Man.
Exactly. Look what it's able to do. Learn how to use it to your advantage. You know, learn how to use it. I mean, to build off of that. You can reach so many more potential people off of streaming than you can ever do in person. You know, like I always tell people whenever they tell me, oh man, you know, you got to be known locally before you can get known globally. I said, no, not anymore. Because there's no city on planet Earth that has a higher population than the internet.
And you can but here's the thing, you can build your local following a lot faster on the internet.
Exactly.
Now, yes, you do got to go outside and be active, granted. Sometimes. But you can actually build your dude. Yeah, you know what? You're right. Sometimes you can start live streaming.
Yep. And you got to think about it too. Almost everyone on the internet has a cell phone. And they get on it.
Everybody.
And they when they're on the toilet, when they're fucking bored sitting waiting for a doctor's appointment, when they're at work on downtime, on lunchtime, when they're just, you know, hiding out in the bathroom fucking off.
It's the new paper. It's the new newspaper.
Exactly. It's a new newspaper and stuff like that. And so with that, you can target the exact people who are going to like your shit.
Yeah.
Once you learn how to do it, obviously it makes it easier and stuff like that. But it's so much easier than what people used to have to do, stand at the gas station with their trunk popped open, trying to sling shit out the fucking back all day just to get their word out. You know, plastering up fucking, papers all over all the telephone poles and shit like that to get their word out. Going to every single open mic just to try to get their music out. You know what I'm saying? You can still do that because ground game still has a place. Yeah. But you can reach people all over the planet and you can start building, right? So like if you
they can go to your show, if you live in a small town and it's not only one venue and they don't have anybody there, well, you can use the internet to build your following, to build your fan base, and then once you're ready to throw a show, you can advertise it on your Facebooks, on your Instagrams, and your TikToks, and all those other platforms, and you can do it a month, 2, 3, 4 months in advance. Build up the nostalgia, build up the moment, build up the anticipation. This is a plastic knife, by the way, y'all.
Anyway,
it's a training knife.
Yeah.
But anyway, you can build, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You can build it just like that. And then you be able to, and then you can still go outside and using your phone and going up to people and engaging with them on the internet. And you can pick a time, and you can pick your time when you want to do that. and then boom, and man, it's just that's why when I'm hearing so many people who complain about social media and the internet and streaming and how it's ruining this, that, and the other, I'm like Gary V. It's like, it's because the way you guys are using the shit. I'm even at fault at how I used it.
Yeah, well, it's
but I'm able to right. But I'm able to say that it was because of the way I did it that it fucked up. But everybody needs to stop blaming blaming the imminent object itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they don't want to blame the real problem, which is themselves and how they're using it.
Oh, no. Oh, hell no. How dare they?
Exactly. So, yeah. So that's what we want to leave you with here today is that no matter the obstacle, you can get around it. You know what I'm saying? And we've had many different examples on the show where we've talked about, and I'm sure you guys have had many examples in reality that you can think about as well, too. But no matter what the situation is, there's always a way through everything.
Yeah. And it's okay that you have something to hate. If you have something that you hate, hey, you know what? There are things we hate within this business, but again,
but use that as fuel to fucking fire your drive and your desire and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Get to where you want to go by getting past all the shit that you hate and figure out a way to not deal with that anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, for instance, I know somebody who's an entrepreneur. I'll try to wrap this up, but I know somebody who's an entrepreneur, and the biggest thing that he hates in like day-to-day life is landscape, like mowing his yard. So he started making enough money to where he paid somebody else to do that for him. And then he was like, okay, so he actually made an anti-bucket list is what he calls it. So he has like a bunch of things that he does not like to do, right, in life. And so he's started making enough money to where you start checking those off by paying somebody else to do them or figuring out his life differently to do it. Like, so at first he didn't like doing landscaping. So he got enough money to where he can hire somebody to do it for him. Well, then
I just moved into a condo.
Right. Yeah. So that he did that too.
Right.
He ended up just selling his house because he got tired of dealing with all the home ownership shit. Right. And then he moved into an apartment and now he lives in like a condo type thing or whatever, where he doesn't have to take care of none of that shit either way. Yeah. Right. So he elevated his life to where he could pay somebody else to do it and then kept going to where he doesn't have to deal with it at all. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else has to deal with all of that. He doesn't even have to pay somebody else to do it. It's just done. Right. Yeah. So he's eliminated that. He's got an anti-bucket list. You know, a bucket list is things you want to accomplish before you die. He's like, these are the things I want to eliminate to live life. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good idea.
It's completely opposite, right? So yeah. I suggest everybody else have something like that they want to do as well too. You know, have a bucket list of things you want to do before you die, and then have an anti-bucket list of things you want to get rid of to live your life to the fullest. Man. Absolutely.
That's a bar.
Right. We're going to get the fuck up out of here. Yeah. Music Making Sense pod for any and everything music making sense. And as always, if you want to have us give you an independent consultation, free initial consultations, and I can drop some bars on you and you'll be like, God damn, give me your PayPal. And we'll get rocking and rolling. Yes. And also, I want to drop this on here too. If you have a startup business and you're looking to have affiliates out there to promote your stuff, hit up Music Making Sense podcast. We'll build an affiliate relationship with you, put you on our website on the discount page of Music Making Sense pod. We already have a lot of other people we do business with there. And then we're actually in the process of starting to cut and promote for people as well too. So if you got any independent business, no matter what it is, and you think that people who listen to Music Making Sense podcast might want to partake in it, hit us up and we'll help you out with that as well too. We have free options and paid options, so it's completely available right here as well. All right.
Oh yeah.
So till next time, see y'all on the next episode. Y'all have a good day.
Holla, y'all.
Yeah.